Hello and welcome to Understanding Narcissist. Thank you so much for joining me. In this episode, I want to talk about self-sabotage and the training you receive living with, interacting with, having to be around a narcissist for any extended period of time. The behavior you are going to acquire that will undermine your own well-being, work against your own self-interest so that you easily and readily fall under the narcissist's thumb. This is probably one of the most difficult things you will encounter in trying to recover from a narcissist, trying to get away from a narcissist, trying to protect yourself from a narcissist, because narcissists use you against yourself, and that's how they control you. They're really not all that great themselves. Narcissists are really not that effective, but they make you believe that they are, and so then they become effective. I've said it before, it's a pretty simple thing. Works really well for them. Very effective method of control, exploiting your weaknesses, your insecurities, what's already there, magnifying them, amplifying them, and then using them to really spiral you downward so that you end up kicking yourself, tripping yourself up, remaining helpless and hopeless in your situation. That's what they do. The happy side of that coin, the positive thing about that is that you can overcome it because it's all you, because you are actually in control. And just because it's you and your own shortcomings and they feel overwhelming and they feel like you can't overcome them because they're so overpowering, because it's those very things that you're terrified of, you are in fact in control of them. And if you are persistent in trying to overcome them, you will find a way. It can take a very long time. But what's really better than liberating yourself from that sort of cage? It's kind of everything, isn't it? So there's a lot of motivation and drive there to overcome it. And once you do, you're so much stronger for it. I can't even begin to describe how much easier life becomes at that point. I don't want to imply that it's a eureka moment or an epiphany. It is not. It is always work. You're always working on it. And yes, you do have moments where you break through, but it will creep, back up on you. That's how it works. But there are moments where the ground shifts and you have a ground-breaking moment and you forever are sort of changed for the better, and it's just not as difficult an affair at that point. This is the hardest thing for me to show you because I don't know what the best program for you would be. The only thing I can do is try to nudge you in the right direction and give you the right nudges at the right time so that you can find that out for yourself. And I try to give you support the whole way. So as long as you're committed to it, we'll figure it out. As difficult as it may be. Now, this really has to do with recovery and the entire process of recovery. Now, I'm going to go into recovery in great depth in future videos, quite soon. So I don't want to try to cover everything in one video. I want to break it up into something that you can really hold on to and use by itself, just an effective principle or exercise or method or something that helps you without trying to throw too much at you at once, and then you become overwhelmed. With self-sabotage, I find the biggest problem to be self-loathing. Wrapped up in insecurity and really terrible fears of being abandoned or not loved is going to be an overwhelming feeling of self-loathing. And you may not be terribly aware of it. Victims of narcissists tend to have that from the jump, at the gate. Because somewhere, somebody made us feel like we weren't worthy of being loved or cared about. Then there forms this kind of fixation on what's wrong with us, and this particular trait or behavior or something that we can't change or overcome that makes us unlovable and really worthy of hate and scorn. Really making us worthless and not capable of getting along functionally in the world. Whatever that fixation is, whatever the excuse or the reason is, usually something not reasonable at all. Something that minor, seemingly, something that we can't change, but it's always there and it's always going to weigh us down and be this enormous burden that we cannot move, we cannot lift. And so we naturally take a straight path, a beeline, directly into a narcissist abuse or some other similar abuser. And we think that they're justified in how they treat us. And that because we are so unworthy of anything spectacular or wonderful, something that would make us happy, we go without because that's what we deserve. Self-loathing. This is something that, when simply thought upon, like as a mental exercise, you cannot overcome. I don't find that you can quash any kind of self-hatred by thinking about it. Again, it's not an epiphany. As I've said before, a lot of this stuff is not an epiphany, it's action and it's implementation. The reason thinking doesn't work so well is because you're standing still and you're in the same situation. Thinking is very important, working through things, planning, and particularly when you're acting. That's when thinking can become useful, because when you're working to get away from a narcissist or protect yourself or doing something good for yourself and you're thinking, that's when you can make emotional inroads and progress and develop and heal. But if you're just thinking about it, you tend to fall into the distorted and dysfunctional thinking of the narcissist that takes you down further and further until however deep you go. It's not good. It doesn't help, and it compounds. That's because living with a narcissist makes you feel like continually and repeatedly that you aren't worthy of anything better. The best thing I find is acting in little steps to improve your life and get away from the narcissist that then strengthens you further and further. So it's in the acting that you then reflect on that helps you. Not just, even say learning from these videos or other sources of information and then kind of mulling it over. That helps. That can give you that energy. But what it really does, hopefully, is wells up some positive sort of emotion in you so that you move forward, even just a little bit. And that little bit will make you progress, and you will feel and experience it. And that is what will get you out of the self-loathing phase. There's nothing I can just tell you here right off the bat that will get rid of these problems. I would if I could. But it is a personal journey and a development and growth journey. That's really what it is. And so you can get support along the way, but you really have to figure it out for yourself at some point. Because it's a personal experience. I mean, we can all share in our experiences and help each other with emotional support and information. But ultimately, it's something that you have to experience and go through to truly understand, and then help others do the same. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do with you. It's not a simple thing that we can think about heavily and talk about, and then you'll make progress. That will give you the energy and the motivation to take action and make progress. So that's what it's really about. And because that foundation of recovery is acting, at the earlier stages where I'm just talking about narcissism and trying to understand it and sort of overcome it mentally, kind of the mental blocks, opening you to new ideas about what's going on so then you can heal, that's really just opening paths that you can take in the future. But you're not taking them yet. To take them, you have to act. And that's going to be implementing your understanding, warding off narcissists, not falling into enabling behavior where you are strengthening them to hurt you and hurt others and support this kind of controlling, abusive regime. It's necessary to grapple with the abuse and even grapple with the narcissist in a way that you can prove to yourself you can do this, because you can't overcome them. There's going to be those moments where something bad is happening and you're able to stand up to them in a way that they weren't expecting, and it empowers you. Now, they immediately want to strip that away, but the problem is there's nothing they can do to strip that away from you, because once you do that and you accomplish that for yourself, you feel it forever. It's kind of like once you reach that realization, make that startling revelation that they're a narcissist, you don't go back. Similarly, when you really act for yourself and do something that's good for you, that first time where you do something to protect yourself and those you care about and love, you take a big step forward. And there's no going back, because now you know you can do that. That's where a lot of the self-sabotage can begin to disappear and erode, because it's really the narcissist exploiting your fears. Once you're aware of them and once you're able to act against those fears and accomplish what you want, then you may still have those bad feelings, but you can acknowledge them and work beyond them. You're not limited and confined by them. You don't have to partake in this self-destructive behavior where you can't do what you want, because now you know you have another path. And maybe a new path, maybe a somewhat uncharted path, but it's the one you want to take because you don't want to hurt yourself anymore. And so hopefully that was pretty clear. I don't want to have to make all these contortions so that something makes sense. But that's kind of, in my experience and in what others have told me, what it feels like. So I hope this video was useful. I hope you liked it. Like it if you do. Share it with somebody you think might also like it and benefit from it. Comment in the comment section below about your own sort of journey in overcoming this overwhelming feeling of self-sabotage, which I think is self-loathing, and how you did it, what you did that you found was most effective, and the different stages you had to go through, and how long it took. Because that's what I find is, then I start getting into the realm of sort of recovery program and process once you reach this point. And so it becomes many different stages. And they're different for different people, of course, but there is a lot of overlap. There's a lot of similarity. And I'd like to hear what your experience has been and how you work through it and where you are now and where you want to go in the future to improve your life, and maybe how we can get you there, how I can get you there, and how other people can help you, other commenters. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. I hope you have a great day. Bye.